Hi and welcome. Today we're going to be using 6x6 paper pads. There are so many things that you can do with 6x6 paper pads. So I hope that whether you have just a little bit in a pad of paper or a stash, you'll be able to find something that you want to do in here. And I have chapters marked for you. Today I'm going to be using this Stamp Timber 2024 stamp set along with the postage dies. I know there's other postage dies that are larger that can be cut apart. I just want you to really think outside the box. You don't have to do postage stamp themes. You could use other dies. You could use other stamp sets. You know, go through your stash. I'm all about saving money and finding little items that you can use to decorate these different items. And while I was off camera, I cut and colored all of these. I've already started using them. I haven't colored the star on here, but I just wanted to do this and color them in different ways. I cut out one of the stamps here. Today we're going to be making a little Matchbox card, and you can see where I cut that out using the postage stamp. So let's get started. Now we're going to find a sheet of paper in our 6x6 paper pad. I will be cutting this paper so that you can see that to make the Matchbox. But we will be ending up using a different sheet of paper. Now, when you cut your 6x6 paper down, you want to make sure that you cut away the rough part of the edge or where the circle is at the top of the 6x6 paper. And what we're going to do is cut that at 5 inches. We're going to rotate our paper and cut it again at 5 inches. And I've done this so you can see up close what I've done. Next, you want to cut the paper, depending on the orientation of the paper, at 2.5 inches. And I'm going to set this to the side. I want to get a pattern paper so you can see what I mean. This has a hole in the top. I want to cut away that hole, so there's 5 inches. I'm going to rotate it again at 5 inches. Then I'm going to cut it away, and we want to rotate it so that the pattern is going away from us like this, and cut it at 2.5. Now, this way when we create the box, it'll be in the right orientation. What I'm going to do first is put this in my trimmer and cut off 1/2 inch. I will set the next piece of paper in, and I'm going to cut this at 3 3/8. So that's just 2 little marks past the 3 1/2 mark. It's right before it. I'm going to take the shorter piece, which is the last piece we just cut, and on all sides I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. And this is going to make the bottom of our box, and I'm going to set that to the side. I'm going to get the longer piece, and I'm going to score it in 4 places. I'm going to score it at 4 inches, 3.5 inches, 2 inches, and 1.5 inches. And this will make the top of our Matchbox. Now that I have both pieces here, this is not necessary to do, but I want you to see that on the ends you have this score line. So I am marking it in black, and it goes up to the next score line. So there's 4. And I wanted you to clearly be able to see this, but you don't have to put the pin in. You're going to cut up to where the score lines meet. And then you're going to cut just a small sliver of paper away. So you're kind of doing a little tiny triangle. And this will just help with the bulk of the paper when we go to make the box. And we will rotate it and do the same thing just to get a little bit of that paper away. Now next, we're going to just take all of our score lines and we're going to fold it so we can easily assemble the Matchbox part of the box. And I'm going to take score tape, and I'm going to take this score tape and tape it on each one of the little flaps. So I'll need 4 pieces for this. So I'll put one down on each flap. You'll have to excuse my mat in the background. It has a lot of adhesive on it and I have to figure out how I can get that off. I'm not sure exactly how I got it on there to start with, but if anybody has any tips for that, please leave a comment below. Next, I am going to take a bone folder. I never thought that this was really any count, but it is. You take the bone folder and it really just helps you be able to adhere that down and lift away that paper so quick and easy. It made me so happy when I figured this out. Now we're going to fold in the flaps and have them meet the top of the box. So you fold in the flap and have it meet there and adhere it. So this is making your little box that is going to go inside to hold, you know, a little candy. This one might be cute for coworkers. I'm going to put some vintage stamps in there to give to a friend. You could put earrings in there, anything like that. And now I'm going to fold all my score lines for the top of the box. Then I'll just stick the box in there and we will fold it over to make sure it fits, and that looks really good. And then we're going to put tape, again the score tape, along this line. And this will hold our box together. Now, for this box, the great thing is you could decorate it if you want to. If you have patterned paper, you can just let the patterned paper do the work for you. You can just add a bow to it if you want, or some twine. You don't have to decorate it like I'm going to, or you could even take it up a notch. So you do you, and there you go. There's our little box. So let's decorate it. I've decided to take those Post-it stamp dies. I'm going to use Post-it note tape. I have some here that I have already been using today. I'm going to mask off the side where it's indented on the postage stamp, and I'm using the larger of the 2 postage stamps. I do have a little bit of red I have gotten onto this postage stamp. A great way to take that away is to use this mono eraser. It is wonderful. It takes away that ink and you don't have to start all over. So I'm just going to get that done, and then we're going to continue to mask around this stamp so that we have a white trim showing whenever we decorate our box. Now I'm going to be using Distress Oxide ink. I love this pine needles. I think it looks very Christmassy, and a blending brush. And I'm just going to heavily put down this green, and that is going to be my background. You could have more than one color for your background. You know, you do you. I really like this green color. And then I can just take away my mask and you'll see the white trim shows. But you'll also see that I made a mistake when I masked, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to continue to move on because it's just not really going to be that noticeable by the time I'm finished. I'm going to write up in the corner 25, and you could put any number, but 25 is for Christmas Day, and it looks like the postage stamp is 25. I'm getting out the images I've already colored. I'm going to fussy cut out the Santa. You can see where I fussy cut, you can see the white. I'm getting my Copic marker C9, and I am going to go around, but please be super careful when going around. But I'm going to go around here and ink up my little stamp so that when it is put on the postage stamp, it just really looks clean and crisp. So I have Santa here on his postage stamp, and I'm going to adhere him down. And I just think that looks just absolutely adorable. I will put a little block on there and set him off to the side so that he can dry. Now I have this other little postage stamp. I have where I cut away that paper for the other box, and I am going to use my little, this is a great way to use these little strips up. So that's the paper that came from there, and I'm just going to adhere this down and go ahead and run it through my die cut machine. And when I run it through the die cut machine, I am going to take the side that doesn't have the die indent on it. I'm going to put some glue on it, and I'm going to adhere the back of that paper. And this will help me, I'm just getting a little bit of the ink smeared around, but it's going to give me a nice little background for my little tag that I am going to create to go around the box. So I'm just going to set that to the side. And then I am going to get my MISTI out. I have a to and from stamp in the MISTI. And I'm going to place that little stamp that we just did. The pattern paper is on the back. I'm going to put it here in the corner. I am going to ink it up with Memento black ink, the to and the from. Now, I got too much ink on that stamp, so I am cleaning it off really good, and I'm going to do it again so that I just have a nice image on there. And then I'm going to press that down. Now, it wasn't perfectly straight, but that's okay with me. So here's my little tag, and I'm going to use a hole punch, and I'm going to punch the hole opposite of the to and from. And this is going to be where I can put my twine or ribbon, whatever I need to. My hole punch is not very good, by the way, and so it really takes a lot of muscle. So I hope your hole punch is better than mine. And now I want to decorate that tag. But I want to start assembling my box first. So here's my Santa, and what I'm going to do is glue him down to the box. I'm actually going to put the glue on the box so I get it near the edges, and then I'm going to adhere the little stamp down. Yes, the stamp is larger than the box, but that's okay. I have going to fussy cut the little Rudolph, and I put the black marker around him too, and I'm going to adhere him down to my little tag. And I just think that's absolutely adorable. You could also put glossy accents on his nose, and so his nose looks like it's shining. Now, some of the glue was coming out, and I couldn't find my microfiber cloths during this crafting event. I guess I must have them down in the laundry room. And so I had to get some of that glue off with a paper towel. Now, I am going to put this across Jingle All the Way. It was one of the sayings out of the stamp set. I put it on paper, and then I fussy cut around that, and see, that covers up that little mistake that I had. And I thought Jingle All the Way went really good with Santa and his reindeer. And then the paper being little houses, just kind of all goes together and flows. I will take a piece of twine, and I can choose what color to use, whether red or green, and I'm going to put red. I thought it would really pop to tie the tag around my box. Now, you want to insert this from the back. It really makes a difference on how this is going to lay on the box, and I want that to lay towards the front of the box. So when I work with my twine, I need to make sure that it lays there. Now, I'm not the best tire of twine. I can tell you that. I'm going to move it around here and try it again. But when it comes to tying twine, tying ribbon, that is just not my thing. But I try to do my best, and I struggle at it. Now I'm just going to move this stamp. Again, I want it over the top, on the top of this, towards the side. Next, we're going to make tags with our 6x6 paper pads. So remember, this piece of paper, we cut it in 2 3-inch strips. And I'm going to take my tags. I've cut 2 in white and then 2 with the pattern paper. And I'm going to stack them and glue them on top. This will allow the pattern paper to show on the front of the tag and give me somewhere to write my to and from on the back of the tag with the white. You can just let your pattern paper show if that's what you would like when you decorate your tags. I had a little bit of glue on there. Or you can decorate the front of your tags. So it's up to you. You do you. And on this one, I think this is a great way to use up my pattern paper from 6x6 pads. And there will be where my to and from go for each tag. So I cut this out using out of what I colored, and I cut that out using that postage stamp die. I thought that was just absolutely adorable. And I'm going to add my 25 to the stamp because I think that's cute, and I didn't mind it had a white background there. Looks like a wonderful hot chocolate mug. And then you could blend red around the stamp, and that's what I want it to do. And watch when you blend this around, it just really makes it pop, and it's just really a fun technique. But you could have left it white if you wanted to. It's just up to you, but it really kind of makes the mug stand out now. And I'm just going to adhere that down to decorate my card. You could also add a sentiment to it, and you can add some twine to it to be able to tie on your card, or you can take the twine and just put tape on it to glue it to the package. Now, again, you can let the pattern paper show. You don't have to decorate it. That's cute. It looks like a candy cane. You can look through your stash and see if there is something that you want to use, maybe a cut apart, but I found that the cut aparts were too big to go on the tag. If you had a larger tag, you could possibly use a cut apart if you want it. those are just some ideas that you could have. But what I'm going to do, just so you can see, those are just too large. But what I'm going to do is take this paper because it has popped out to me, and I am going to let it do the work for me. Instead of stamping a greeting or anything, I'm going to use the greeting on the paper, and I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm going to kind of cut it out in a curved manner and just let that saying show. And then this way, I've assembled a quick tag, especially if I need something in a hurry. So that's another great way to use your paper pads, is to make tags for Christmas. The next item that we're going to make using this Brutus Monroe festive paper is a card, a very simple card that you can make using your 6x6 paper. What I like about this paper is that, one, there's no hole in it. Two, it's glossy. It's kind of looks higher end. And what I'm going to do is put this in my trimmer, and I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4 and also 4 inches so that I have a nice border around my card. And this also, you could take the paper that you cut away and you can put it down the center if you want to jazz up the paper. My trimmer was not doing very well on cutting, so I just used my bone folder to kind of press that paper down, but I really don't like that look. Next, search your stash. I'm going to use this Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's greeting out of my stash. I'm going to use a scrap piece of paper, and I'm just cutting it away. I'm not really worried if it's straight or if my stamp goes in the MISTI straight. I don't have to worry about any of this with this stamp. I did have to remove the foam pad because I'm using a cling stamp. It helps just make a crisper image. I am going to ink this up with Memento black ink. I'm going to stamp it a couple times. But I want you to really think outside the box. What do you have in your stash? Do you have other sayings that you can use on the front of a card? Do you have any die cuts? Do you have anything that you can punch out? Do you have something like this that you can fussy cut to add to a card? Just different things where you can make a quick card for using your pattern paper out of your 6x6 paper pad. I just think that that's a great way to make a quick Christmas card. I'm also using my C9 again to go around. You'll never notice that I fussy cut this out when I put it on the paper. And I want to elevate this by adding some foam strips on it just to give the saying some elevation and pop it off the front of that card. So think about that with your dies or your sayings or whatever you'd like to put on there. But that makes a really quick Christmas card. I'm going to get out one of my cards. I'm going to put this in my Score Pal. I just want to hold it in place so that I can take and put some glue on the back of here and just be able to position my card in place and just keep everything still as I put that card on there. And there you go. We have a quick Christmas card. Next, let's make some small cards. So we're going to cut this because it has a hole in it at 6 inches. We're going to move over and cut it at 3 inches. We'll set that to the side, and I'm going to get another sheet, and I'm going to cut this down at 3 inches. It didn't have a hole in it. It's that Brutus Monroe paper. And I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to get out my score pal, and I'm going to score all of these cards at the 3-inch mark. And I'm just going to quickly do this. I've covered up my green. I'll score that one, and then I will score the next one. So I have 4 cards here. And these cards are really great, cute little gift cards that can go on a package. So I have one where the pattern paper is really going to show off, one that's black that I want to decorate. I'm going to have a green one that I'm going to want to decorate. And then I have another one where I'm going to let the pattern paper. So boom, we have 4 different cards here, and we can start assembling these and getting these done. It's just absolutely fun. I'm going to take that pattern paper that we used on our tag, and I want to trim this paper up. I want to make sure every time you'll see me get rid of that little round circle at the top and start out with a true 6x6 piece of paper, because I don't want to ever have my project end up with that dot in it for some reason because I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to cut this at 2.5 by 2.5 for a square, and this will be the background on this paper. I thought it looked good with the black, and I can adhere that down. So mix up your pattern papers, see what looks good with what. You could just use this with the words alone, but I want to embellish it. I have these cute little penguins that came from that Lawn Fawn set that I showed you earlier. I've put some foam on the back of it, and I'm just going to let them shine and be the star of this little card. This little card, you put to and from inside. It can be you can hole punch this. My hole punch doesn't work very well, so this didn't turn out good. But if you have a good hole punch, you could hole punch, you could tie it on a gift bag, or you can adhere it, or even make a small envelope to put it on a package. Next, I have my green card. I have found some pattern paper that I'm going to use to decorate up this green card. And I'm just trying to show you some examples on how you can do this. I'm going to trim this one down to 2.25 by 2.25, and that will give me a 1/4 of an inch border around my card. So just a little bit of that green will show through. And you can decorate this in so many different ways. Just look at your stamp sets, cut out your stamp sets, color your stamp sets, play around with them, add them to them, cut out sentiments. Here I have a penguin, and I can add in an igloo, and looks like he's carrying a present to somebody's house. You can make like a little scene on there. You could add a sentiment on here. I have stamped this sentiment, and I wanted to show you how I don't have a die, but I can just kind of circle cut this and cut off any rough edges just so that it has something cute. And I've changed out the images and have special delivery. So he looks like he's delivering something under the tree. Just use your imagination. That's what's so much fun about using your 6x6 paper pad. And again, I have to blot off. I really made a mess of this and had to blot off the ink. Not the ink, the glue. I put too much glue down. I don't know what's up with me today, but Anyway, those are just some fun tips that you can use to make these cards. And now I've decided to get out a smaller glue stick so that I'm not putting glue all over the place. But you could decorate this up with rhinestones, all sorts of stuff. Just, use your imagination. And then inside these 3x3 cards, we will cut white pieces of paper at 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, which is a square, and we'll adhere that down so we have somewhere to write to and from for the recipient. The pattern paper, you can just let it do the work for you. I'm adhering the 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 little white cards in here. I'm also going to take a piece of twine to dress the inside up, and I will just use some score tape to hold this down and in place. It'll give me a little bit of wiggle room, and then when I put the glue on the back, I can glue over top of that to put in my card. I think that's just cute. It just adds a little something to it. So use your imagination, and in the comments, tell me what you would do. Next, let's see what it's like to make a card using a cut apart inside of the 6x6 paper. I really like this. I like using the Tim Holtz trimmer because it has a deep channel where I can figure out to line the paper, and it has those little airs on each side that lets me cut that cut apart away just perfectly. And I'm going to use a different paper pad to get these snowflakes because I think they look gorgeous. I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4 inches to give me a card base. Then I want to get a piece of red cardstock, and I want to cut it the size of an A2 card. I'm not cutting a card, just the front. So I'm going to cut this at 5 1/2, and then I'm going to flip and cut it at 4 1/4 to give me the base on the front of my card. I think that will look really pretty with the snowflakes on here. And we will just adhere that down. So look at your stash, and you can add paper to make that 6x6 paper really shine. And I think this really shines. It pops out that red. Now, that can go on the card front just like that if you want to. This is another thing that could be done, but adding it on red cardstock. But then I looked at it and I was like, I don't want red snowflakes, red, and then this cut apart. I was like, no, I think what's going to look best, because that cut apart's a 4 by 3 inch, is maybe I could put color around it if I wanted to, like blend the red around it and not even use a mat. Or I could cut this down, which is exactly what I'm going to do, and pull out that green. So those are some tips for you. I will cut this cut apart out. First, again, I'll trim that little hole, which I wish didn't come on these paper pads. But anyway, I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 to give me a great border around the cut apart. And I like the Tim Holtz trimmer because I can quickly find a quarter because they're etched in there. And look how beautiful that is. So I'm going to adhere that down to this, and that will be another layer on my card. And then I got to looking at it, and I think I'm going to add some twine to this card to really kind of elevate it and give it another look. Again, I'm not great at tying twine, but what I want to do is wrap 2 different colors around. Now, one is thinner than the other, but this kind of just gives it some texture and something different. And I'm going to put that around the back of the card and then tie it onto the front of the card. And now I can assemble this to the card using that twine, and I really like how that twine just added something to it, and you can put it wherever you want to secure it in place. Again, I'm going to put a piece of double-sided tape, but I'm just adhering it with one side of the tape, and then I'm going to use pop-up dots to pop it off the front of the card and give it a little bit more dimension. You don't have to do this if you don't want it to have this raised element going in the mail, but it's just another way to elevate that look, and I think it'll look super adorable when the recipient receives it. And that's another great way to use your cut apart and make your own card. Now, to adhere this to the card, I have another trick for you. This is the size of an A2 card, and so I need to put it on the A2 card base. And again, I am going to use my score pal to make sure I line it up right. I don't always line it up right when I just try to do it myself, even when I use glue that lets me move it around. So I put it in the score pal, and I let the score pal be my friend and get it perfectly in place so I don't have to worry about that. So I just line that card base up, slide it right on there, and boom, the card is done. I just love how that looks. Tell me if you use that trick. Next, we're going to use our 6x6 paper to make a gift card holder. It's going to take the entire 6x6 paper, and we just have to choose which side of the paper we want to use. Then we want to have a complementary paper, and we can use this to make 4 of the holders. So you can really go to town and make a lot of gift cards quickly. So I'm getting a red of that red bubble, and I'm going to cut this down 3x3. And then I'm going to get out the score pal, and I am going to score this at the 3-inch mark. So right in half, right in half. And then you fold it and crease it really good, and there you have a gift card holder. So what you're going to do is take your score tape, and very close to the edge, you decide how you want to rotate your paper. You are going to adhere down the score tape on 3 sides. And this is going to make a quick pocket to put in your gift card. And to make sure that really stays down and the paper comes off quickly, we are just going to quickly remove that. We're going to adhere all 3 sides down and leave the top with that where the adhesive is not, and it fits your gift card absolutely perfect. So there's a cute gift card holder that you could decorate with twine. You could decorate it with all sorts of different elements. You could add some of the elements you've already cut and colored onto your card. You just decide how you want to present it. Here's another quick card. I'm just going to take it out and just score it. It didn't need any cutting. The only thing that needed to be cut were the 3x3 squares, and I can get 4 of those out of this paper and adhere them on all sides. So you could just really knock out your gift cards with 6x6 paper, especially if it doesn't have a hole at the top. I made 2 here of these gift card holders, and I decided to use the cut-aparts and let the cut-aparts that were in other paper pads just be the element to show off for the gift card. And I like that. Even though this kind of, I feel the reds go with this. It's kind of an Amish look. So use your cut-aparts, use die cuts, use punches, use stamps. You decide, or just let the pattern paper show. But those are 2 gift cards, quick and easy. So let's review all the things we made. We have Matchbox card holders for candy and other items. I made a few others just to show you. You can do a pull-out using your little punch if you want to before you fold up the sides, your little circle punch. And I just really enjoyed making those and decorating them up, putting rhinestones on it. Just some cute ideas for you. I love the little gift card holders, using the whole 6x6 paper and being able to give gift cards quickly. The tags are perfect for bags or for gifts, and you can put your to and from on the back. It is just super cute. Then we have our little 3x3 cards. Some we let the pattern paper show off, and those are quick and easy. We could make little envelopes to go with those cards to give to the recipients. And then just our cards showing the pattern paper using a saying, and a card using a cut apart and elevating it. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, consider sharing it, leave a comment, and check out the next video. Thanks again.